all said no to honoring our veterans.
Suck our ass.
Yeah.
Suck
Hey,
our ass.
You know
Suck
what?
our ass.
You know what I'm super jealous of? That I'll never be a part of a fan base or a culture that does the skull claps, like the Minnesota Viking Zoo, or when Iceland was doing it during, or who was it? It's Norway, right? Wasn't it Norway that did it in the World Cup last time? And everybody was going bananas for it. And
or
then,
New Zealand, the haka.
Oh yeah, the haka is like the all time. I think
that's awesome.
When the All Blacks go out and they meet somebody at midfield and they do the haka, it is bone chilling. And I love watching those videos. Every now and then I'll go through a little thing where I'm watching all the different haka videos, like a bride getting off in Australia or New Zealand and meeting her family, and they do it and she's like weeping. It's awesome. Incredible. Yeah. Anyways, welcome back to another edition of Zero Block 30. Today we have 5 rounds in the magazine. Round number 1, a good guy with a forklift thwarts a would-be robber, proving that we do not need forklift control at all. Round number 2, it's time we remind you that every person you search must be searched thoroughly, because if you don't, there's no telling what's inside one of them coochies. Round number 3.
I'm going to tell you how much you can fit in your asshole.
Wow, that'll be awesome.
Scientifically.
Round number 3, update the safety brief. While it's important to clean up your areas when camping, we must pay attention to the warning signs, or else you could end up with a statewide fire simply because you wiped your own ass. Round number 4, China might have discovered the communication of aliens. The U.S. also ups the budget for our UFO research. It's getting curiouser and curiouser there in deep space. And they also found human trash on Mars. Did you guys hear about that?
No.
I saw a picture that there was a door on Mars.
Yeah, the space rover found some human garbage on Mars. So we even got trash on Mars. Unbelievable.
What was it? Was it my ex-boyfriend?
Could have been. And they found this guy. He takes these submarines to the deepest parts of the ocean. And he thinks that he found the deepest part in all of the oceans on Earth. And he had this little machine that went to the bottom. And at the very bottom of this trench, they also found trash. So there's trash in Mars. There's trash in the deepest ocean. We're trashing up the whole fucking joint. We need to get humankind online and do a quick little police call of Earth and the rest of the universe.
I will say,
hands across America here.
How cool would it be to know that, say I was drinking beers down the shore when I was 21 or something, or 19,
23,
and I throw my bottle into the sea. I'm like, fuck the sea. How cool would it be to get a notification that, guess what? We tested the DNA on the trash at the deepest part of the whole entire ocean, and it's your trash. That's something to be a little proud of.
I think I would be deeply ashamed.
Oh, come on.
I would be. I hate those guys that do. If you're a litterer of the ocean, you're a piece of shit.
When I see someone throw trash, when I see someone throw trash out of their car, like, what? I give them I'll say it. I give them the stink eye, even though they don't know I do it.
Because in the 70s, people were littering like it was no thing. You had like an extra McDonald's cup. You're chunking that bitch down the highway without a care in the world.
You're ripping a heater with your 6 kids in the car. You're throwing their McNuggets out the window. Yeah, you don't care.
They need a little nicotine. It'll make them chill out. It's a stimulant, but it'll chill them out after a while. Remember when you first started smoking cigarettes and you get like super buzzed from it?
On the way, 11th grade, on the way to a Dave Matthews concert, my friend JoJo, her dad let her borrow the minivan, green Caravan, woodchuck. And I lit a cigarette and I was like, am I fucking high right now?
Right.
I am spinning. And then we chain smoked the whole rest of the time. And then we wanted to vomit.
I almost crashed my 1993 Chevy S10 Tahoe edition whenever I was smoking cigarettes. I was driving down Cantonment Highway.
Listening to Hold Me
9
Down.
Mile Road. With
homes
6 feet
from the edge and I'm
the sunlight.
6 feet.
Welcome
It's
to
so
this
far
place.
down.
I'll show you everything. Round number 5. Want to buy an artillery round?
A delight.
Round number 5. Want to buy an artillery round that will end up going up a Russian military member's asshole?
Yes.
Well, we're going to tell you how to do that. I legit think that we should pool our money together and buy one and just get them to write the QR code for ZBT, and then it'll bring them right to the YouTube, which last week or last episodes, I shit on the baby girls for not subscribing and for not buying merch. We're still struggling on the merch. We're more than usual for us.
This merch?
But we got merch all over the place. Me and Kate are wearing it. Cons is too fancy right now because he's probably got other meetings and shit and what have you to do. But we're wearing t-shirts right now. You need to be wearing our t-shirts. And finally, Nick asked for like a month and a half to get us over 10,000. We're at 11.7, folks. We're doing great. Katie got her vagina waxed on live on Instagram.
I did.
Fantastic.
Ask a question.
Sure.
We were struggling to get to 10K. And then in the blink of an eye, we get to 11.7. So my question to you is, what's wrong with people? Why would they just hit subscribe?
I think what's right with people is that they are curious about my booty. I would be too if I was someone else.
True.
I would be too.
Good point.
There was a moment where after I got my mustache waxed, I had to take my tights off. And I thought, I better be real careful about what I'm doing with this phone.
Same exact way I felt when I took a bath on a live stream. It was just unbelievable.
You gotta watch your bits.
Because you never know. There could be a rogue reflection. And these fucking freaks, these stoolies, these horny Reddit posts, especially, they'll go in and they'll be like, oh, there's a spoon. Let me see if I can get the reflection in the spoon and see straight up somebody's butthole.
Oh, I posted a cute photo of my son, like in the living room, and someone's like way in the background in the corner, very small. They're like, I see part of a Preparation H thing.
Who's got hemorrhoids? This dumb bitch got hemorrhoids.
And that's a big concern when you're getting waxed, let me tell you.
It really is. By the way, another note, I heard the best dad joke that I've heard in a long time. Are you guys ready?
Hit me with it.
Yes.
So a father who is a drummer found out that he was having twin daughters with his young wife, and they were talking about what to name the kids. And she said, honey, because this is our first kid, I know how important it is to you and you like to name things. So you're the one that gets to name them. Do you know what the dad who's a drummer named his two daughters?
But
no, Anna 1, Anna 2. That's good shit. Anna 1, Anna 2, Anna 1, Anna 2. Anyways, let's move on to round number 1, which today is going to be presented by the whole damn show. Actually, is going to be presented by our good friends at Whistle Pig. I had a dude that he was like, usually whenever I hear a liquor ad or something like that on a podcast, I don't try it. He said, but I knew that you're a Whistle Pig guy. I went out and finally found it. He lives in like a small little Wisconsin town. Found the Whistle Pig rye, like the actual one that we constantly are advertising here. And he said it was delicious. He said that he was like, there's this old man. He's like, what's that fancy thing? While he was at the bar. And the guy was like, this is Whistle Pig. And the dude was normally a Jack Daniels on ice kind of guy. Tried it. He's like, well, this has a lot more flavor. Like, yeah, it does. Because Jack Daniels fucking garbage.
You don't realize how bad,
not me, but
you don't realize how bad Jack Daniels is until you start drinking some other actual good whiskey like Whistle Pig. You're like, wow, all that time I was just taking shots of Jack Daniels. Now I realize why I hated taking shots of Jack Daniels, because it sucked.
Up your smoke pit party this weekend.
Exactly right.
A little Whistle
if you're
Pig.
drinking Jack Daniels and cheap shit like that, and like in Whistle Pig, like the piggyback's not expensive. It's not like in a super expensive one. If you're drinking that, you might as well be like an IHOP steak guy, honestly.
Yeah.
Like, it's the same thing of being like, this steak from IHOP is delicious.
Oh, now.
Sorry, Kate. If you want to get a good whiskey, make sure you go to whistlepig.com or your local retailer. Trust us on this one. You're going to want it. It's delicious. It's 96.56 proof. It's made from 100% rye to capture 100% bold, spicy flavor profile. It's wonderful. It's everything that you want in a whiskey. It's Whistle Pig, my friends. All right, let's move on to round number 1. Kate, what do we have here?
Well, first of all, it is Father's Day coming up, so I'm just going to start with a quick dad joke. My wife asked me to stop singing Wonderwall. So I said, maybe.
It's going to be the one that saves me.
Anyway, what did the cop say to his belly button?
Oh, no. What?
Stop.
You're under a vest.
That's true. Remember Belly Button Man from the Chaps and Kate show?
Oh, yeah. We had this random follower who used to send us photos of things he could fit in his belly button, which will be very pertinent, actually, for this round. Stuff and things.
He actually did a whole roll of pennies.
He did a whole roll of pennies in his belly button. He laid in his pool in a tube and put lit birthday candles, a whole bunch of them in his belly button. I believe a couple hot dogs.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Where is that guy? I miss that guy. Come back.
He tweeted me probably about 6 months ago. I need to go through him. I have no idea what his handle is or anything like that. But I do remember that we thought he weighed like 180 pounds and he was like a 230 guy.
He was a bigger guy. I once at the Oh, it's in Alabama. It's a NASCAR race. Talladega.
Talladega.
I did a shot.
Talladega.
I did a shot of liquor out of like a 400-pound man's very hairy belly button.
Of course you did.
And let me tell you, those belly buttons can hold more than a shot.
True.
Round number 1. A Queensland man has gone to new heights to stop an alleged car thief in her tracks by love to see a lady car thief.
Her
I
thief,
feel
yeah.
like
We would have assumed, Kate. We would have
I
looked like
would've
such
assumed.
assholes.
I would have assumed it was a man. And
You
I'm
could be a
glad
car
to see,
thief, man or lady.
I'm glad to see we're finally breaking through the sunroof on this one.
Mhm.
A Queensland man has gone to new heights to stop an alleged car thief in her tracks by using a forklift to hoist the vehicle into the air while the woman was still inside.
Mhm.
Police say the offender, a 24-year-old woman, allegedly broke into the home in Waterford, West Logan, longtime Stoolies in Waterford, West
big
Logan, on June 5th, and decided to take a shower and change into clothes belonging to the residence. She then attempted to steal the
Wait.
victim's.
This happens so much more often than you would think.
When a person breaks in and then sees you, and
and
someone's like,
just
let me
changes
hang out
clothes
for a
or
while.
makes a meal or whatever. I never noticed it before I became a blogger and blog like weird stories and things like that. This kind of thing happens at least once a month, where there'll be a story about a robber who comes in, makes like a full ass dinner, eggs and shit like that, and then just leaves sometimes. Doesn't take anything.
Mm-hmm.
Well, think about this. If you're a robber, I'm going to go out on a limb and say you're not doing the best for yourself.
That's
so
fair. Yeah.
you go into someone's home.
Or
like,
you're really good at it.
yeah. You go into someone's home, it's like, wow, it's a really nice house. I just kind of want to spend some time here. Next thing you know, you're kicking back on their comfortable couch, you're eating their food, and you think to yourself, I don't even want to steal anything anymore. So
It's
maybe
the Goldilocks, right? The bear, what's
it's
the bear that
Goldilocks,
breaks
for
into
sure.
the house and is like, wait a minute. Oh, she
it's
breaks into the bear's house and she's like,
Right.
this is good
Another
porridge.
thief.
Right.
Yeah.
It's a comfy
So
ass
maybe-
bed.
maybe the trick
And a
to
lady,
never
right.
having anything stolen from your house is just having really comfortable furniture, because the thief gets so comfortable that they forget they want to
Cons.
steal.
As you remember, my F-250 got stolen in front of my house and I have Mega Chair.
That's true.
True.
That is
but
true.
they didn't come inside. They didn't come inside.
No, but I did 1,400 times. Let's go. Let's continue with the story. She then attempted to steal the victim's Volkswagen Polo. It was about, I'm like red faced at that one. If my wife sees that and what I said on Podfathers, Kate, do you know what I said on Podfathers? It just came out today, but it's the
What?
perfect Father's Day gift.
What'd you say?
So, all right, listen.
I already hate wherever this is going. Go ahead.
You know, and it's a common theme amongst conversations about people that have been married for a while or in a long-term relationship, where occasionally the person who was giving the blowjobs no longer wants to give a blowjob. I said the most elusive of all, maybe the holy grail of all blowjobs, is you wake up and like, oh, it's in your mouth already. What about one of those on Father's Day? Father's Day would be improved. The entire country would be happy. Okay, let's continue going with the story.
She then attempted to steal the victim's Volkswagen Polo and was about to make a getaway when Brendan Mills returned home to find her in his car. A quick thinking decision saw him use a forklift to lift the car off the ground while the woman was inside, parking any possible attempt at the vehicle being stolen. A short time afterwards, police attended and found the woman trapped in the car that was still up in the air by the forklift.
Do you imagine how much anxiety and embarrassment you would feel?
Yeah.
Because there's a video of this, and I'm going to blog this tomorrow. So on Tuesday, you'll be able to go to the Barstool Sports blog and see it so you can actually watch the video. They put this bitch like 7 feet in the air in this car.
Really?
Like she's
So that's
not,
my thing.
she's high
You're-
in there.
Yeah, but 7 feet, you can jump out of that car. and
No,
run
they
away.
pinned her against trees where she can't open the door. And then
Oh.
the forklift back of it is up against the other door. She was stuck. There is no way she could have the only way she could have possibly gone out is kicking out the windshield or kicking out the back seat. That's it. That was her only option. And she was kind of surrounded by not only the house, but the neighbors were there too. And this, you don't mess with a certified forklift driver. You just
No,
don't.
you don't. A lot of people don't realize they're in the presence of one. A lot
I
of
know. I
times. You
always
don't realize
do. I
you're
always
near
get
one.
that feeling, like the hair stands on the back of my neck and whatnot.
Also, I love the detail that they slowly lowered it while the cops were standing there waiting, and that's just plain out embarrassing.
It's like the New Year's Day ball in New York.
Yeah, it's like,
Just drop
okay,
it.
here she comes. The 24-year-old was charged with burglary and unlawful use of a motor vehicle. Mills, who works in the automotive trade, told the magazine Sunrise that he did what was needed to keep my family safe. We just came home from an outing and it all unfolded in front of us so fast. We saw the car door shut in the car. The car started rolling and we thought, well, that means someone is in the car who shouldn't be in there. Mills
I
gave
like
the
that.
yeah, great thinking.
Situational awareness.
Mills gave the alleged thief multiple chances to get out of the vehicle. So he gave her an out. Like, come on, ma'am, can you just get out? Well, and she didn't take it. So he said, okay, if you want to play it that way, I've got an alternative option here. I bet if she knew it was a forklift, she would have hightailed the fuck out of there.
He said, I got more gains than Milton Bradley, bitch. Bring it on. I got a forklift.
Hey, play stupid games, win stupid prizes.
Exactly right, Cons.
Yeah. So there you have it. The forklift. That is.
She tried to get out on foot. And the cops, whenever they come, when you see this video, they look so unbelievably disappointed. Just so disappointed in her behavior that she would do something like this. Let's move on to round number 2. I'm excited about this story as well. Kate, what do we got here?
Yes. And this was, I guess I thought round 1 was the cavity stuffing, but it's this one actually.
Yeah.
So it's this one. I have some fun facts at the end. And this involves Smitty, guys. We got Smitty with a lot of stuff in the crevices. My goodness. A Red Boiling Springs woman is behind bars following a traffic stop that revealed she was concealing a gun, meth, and marijuana inside her body. According to Macon County law enforcement, Deputy Clinton Fryer was on patrol around 11:15 p.m. when he discovered a Chevy S10 pickup without taillights traveling on Highway 52.
You got to keep your head on a swivel on Highway 52.
You certainly do, and your headlights on the dribble. Gotta keep them on. After initiating a traffic stop, Fryer noticed the driver, identified as 49-year-old Sheila Gale Smitty, had dilated pupils and was sweating profusely.
She's from Macon, Georgia, Macon County, Georgia, and her name is Sheila Gale Smitty. She had
Sheila
zero
Gale
chance.
Smitty.
There is absolutely no chance when she was born that she wasn't at least going to try meth. No.
Yeah. Too, down there,
got
you're eating all
pigeonholed.
sorts of barbecue. You grow immune to the meat sweats. So he knew this wasn't meat sweats like Chaps gets. She admitted being on probation for drug-related charges, but denied have any narcotics inside the vehicle or on her person. Miss Smitty gave Officer Fryer consent to search the vehicle and her purse.
Also, a note: don't do this. Like if you are traveling down the road,
great
and they
message,
say,
Chaps.
"Can I search your vehicle?" Your automatic answer is no. Like,
no, thanks.
No,
I'm good. I'm all right. Thank you. All right, I'm gonna head out.
Right.
While the officer was conducting the search, Miss Smitty took it upon herself to begin emptying out her pockets, placing several.
You know what? She was like, I'm going in for the gun. I'm going in for the meth, the weed. I won't go in for an integrity violator. If they ask me what I got, I'm dumping this shit out.
I'm showing all my cards. She starts emptying out her pockets, placing several 22 caliber bullets and a baggie on top of the car that contained Suboxone pill and a Suboxone strip. Smitty was placed. Yeah.
What are you doing carrying around 22 caliber bullets just in your pockets?
Just
She
wait a
forgot
minute.
to put them in the amnesty box.
Oh,
Before sometimes you forget.
Their amnesty box is a little different from everybody
Boy,
else's.
it sure is. We'll get into that. So she gets transported to Macon County Jail.
Mhm.
As standard practice during the booking process, Smitty was x-rayed by the corrections staff, and what they discovered was shocking. Inside of her vaginal cavity was what appeared to be a gun and 2 baggies.
How
And
the fuck do you
I'm not
fit
talking Louis Vuitton.
How do you stick a gun in your vagina?
Pal, people can stick their whole.
I mean, I've seen cell phones. I've seen like those little baby rubber wrists or whatever they are, like the huge things. But a gun, like I understand even sticking big shit. Like
It's more of a shape thing. When it's sometimes a box isn't heavy, but it's awkwardly shaped. So you're like, oh no, I can't handle it. How do you get a gun?
Maybe she took the weapon, took the gun, entered it into her puss, and then acted like Ross from Friends and was like, pivot.
The
until she
couch.
could
It's like
pivot.
carrying the couch.
Yeah. So like it's like getting a couch upstairs. That's essentially what she had to do.
That's pretty much exactly it. She had a 22 caliber and it's a revolver.
Right.
My
Like that's
word.
like those that have rough edges around. Like it's not smooth.
Do you
This isn't
think
a bowling pin.
if she
I
sneezed,
also-
do you think it went?
But I would also think a 22 caliber revolver, you're more at risk of having a negligent discharge. And that's probably the last place you want to have one.
Yeah, you don't want to have that. You don't want to be pulling the old hammer back inside your clit. You don't want that at all.
No, that's true. I could probably fit a Super Ruger Red Hawk in mine, but I don't like to brag.
Yeah,
Anyways,
I can fit a Barrett 50 cal in mine.
just saying.
Double
She had
legal.
a baggie containing approximately 4.1 grams of a crystallized substance that tested positive for meth, and another baggie containing about 2.1 grams of green leafy substance believed to be marijuana. Smitty, a convicted felon, was charged with unlawful possession of a weapon, blah, 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 all sorts of stuff you can't do. Her bond is set. She's going to jail probably for a little while.
But she'll also be known as the woman who had a gun up her cooch. So
Which is street cred. I'll give you that. Did you know? A couple factoids here for you.
Mhm.
According to Swedish researchers, and if there's anyone who knows holes, it's the Swedes.
true.
I'll just say it.
Mhm.
They observed that colon capacities, they did this like actual research in a 1952 study. They observed colon capacities for 350 adults. How they did this, I should have done more research on.
You
I'm
just dump them
extremely
upside
curious.
down, and you just get a funnel, and you say, "Here we go." That's it.
That's what I'm thinking. The average person can fit about 6 cups worth of anything up their ass.
Solid or liquid or anything.
I think probably both. Again, depends on the shape, I'm sure, but I could
I
probably
think
fit-
that's antiquated. I mean, if you're putting 6 cups of shit up your ass in the 1950s, they weren't eating ass. They weren't
That's
doing
true.
anal. It was way more frowned upon.
asses were tighter back then.
I mean, I gotta think 11 cups maybe now.
And they were more sheltered. There's a lot more puckering going on. We don't do that.
No
We're-
bidets really.
Mm-mm. We're
Ring
walking
stains
around.
happen all over the place.
I'll say it fully. Anyways, here's some other people who fit a ton of stuff in their holes. One woman was found at an airport with 54 bags of heroin, 31 empty bags used to package heroin, 8.5 Xanax pills, and $51.22 in change.
See, I don't
in
like
her
I don't
vagina.
like facts
That's
like
so
that, Kate,
specific.
because this is so there's so much ambiguity here. Bags of what size? I can have a bag
Yeah.
that fits all my hockey gear, or I can have a tiny little bag.
I
that only
don't think
fits
she
one
had
Motrin.
31 hockey bags in her vagina.
That would be
She
She
sick.
might have, you don't know.
It's
Look at my
true.
huge bus with all these bags I got.
In El Salvador in 2006, Lydia Alvarado, using her full Christian name here, sorry,
Mhm.
Lydia, she tried sneaking in an M76 grenade along with a bag of marijuana into a prison.
I
So she
need
had a
these
full grenade
people-
in her.
To stop smuggling firearms and explosive devices inside their bodies. It's
Update
dangerous.
the safety brief. Yeah.
Come
Though
on.
I will say, I want to come back to my place and pull the pin.
True.
That sounds kind of cool.
It does.
In 1990, this Colombian man said, "Nah, I'm not desecrating my holes in such a way." In 1990, a Colombian man surgically implanted 1/2 pound of cocaine in each of his thighs.
That doesn't seem like you're gonna get enough to make that worth it. Like a
Right.
1/2 pound. What's the street value of a 1/2 pound of cocaine?
True.
I don't know. I mean,
Oh, that's
it's
probably
decent
a good
amount of money.
amount. Probably a good amount. And then also, it looks like he didn't skip leg day. And then also, a guy put a bottle of E&J brandy up his ass to sneak into prison, and that's a hefty bottle.
Oh, they're saying it's not that much. Like it's about $60 a gram now. Or that's crack. I don't know. We'll have to look that up. Fact check for next week. All right.
Sorry,
Let's move.
sorry, we're not up to
Hey,
date
if you're
on
out there
drug
listening and you
prices.
know, let us know. We're not.
Yeah,
we're not a
please let
cop.
us know what the street
We
price is.
weren't
of-
former MPs. You
cocaine.
can tell us.
Yeah.
Mhm. We're not going to do that at all. Definitely not.
Mm-mm.
All right. Let's move on to round number 3. What do we got for that?
A 57-year-old man was arrested on suspicion of sparking a 5,000-acre forest fire in Arizona. He told deputies he was burning used toilet paper on Saturday while living in the Coconino National Forest.
I feel
The-
so unbelievable. If you go solo camping in a national forest where you're just out in the middle of nowhere in Arizona, when it's currently, people were saying it because I posted a picture here in San Antonio. It was 105 degrees this week. People were like, that's hot, but it's really bad here in Phoenix right now. It's like 113, 114. If you are that old, 57 years old, by yourself camping you don't want to burn anything down. You're out there for the love of the game. This guy, when he was lighting his shit paper on fire and salt start to spread, I just feel awful, just awful.
Yeah. Because once a fire gets out of hand, I've been at a couple ranges on Camp Pendleton when conditions were dry, and Camp Pendleton had some serious wildfires. One time I remember they had to empty out the kennels and bring them all down towards the ocean and clear officer housing and blah, blah, blah.
That area not right on the ocean, it's basically desert.
Tinder. It's like kindling, whatever you call it. I've been at a couple ranges where a fire started and we're all trying to stop, and all of a sudden it starts spreading. You're like, oh God, we got to call the range fire department now. And it's like, it's very scary to watch it start going. Remember there was twice, I think in the last few years, gender reveals sparked.
Oh yeah.
Pyrotechnics from those sparked major forest fires that
There's
burned.
one, I think it burned like a quarter of Wyoming or some shit like that. Like
And
it
we
was an insane amount.
agree that we can just eliminate that from our society, gender reveals.
I know.
Probably not. I mean, people just love to have parties for anything. I mean,
That's
you
true.
just throw in a little bit of a party. I started a forest fire. I think I've talked about it here when I was young. They had just repaved the neighborhood. And so we were playing a lot of roller hockey where I was from. And my dad would always have like these little spinner fireworks, or like bottle caps, and the spinner ones, they don't go into the air, but they like kind of will take off JPP's fingers and stuff like that.
That was pretty good sound.
Yeah, that was good.
Thank you. So I lit one of those off. It darted off into the woods, lit this huge field on fire, and like the neighbors were out spraying fences to make sure they didn't go. My mom was like, what happened? I was like, I have no idea when we were there. We went back to the house and I started crying. I was like, it was me, Mom. I lit this fire. I did it. It was me. But luckily with Thrash and Burn, the next summer, that field was gorgeous. It was gorgeous. So I kind of did them a favor, honestly.
Sometimes fires open seeds for cool flowers, and that's
exactly
maybe
right,
that's
Kate.
what'll happen here, but maybe not. So his toilet paper catches fire. The pipeline fire was first reported after 10 a.m. Sunday, roughly 6 miles north of Flagstaff, Arizona. So it is very close to a major city. Hundreds of Coconino County residents were ordered to evacuate as strong winds fanned the flames. Less than an hour after the fire was reported, a sheriff's deputy spotted a Chevy pickup driving away from the area. The deputy pulled over the driver, who initially said he was camping when he saw the fire. The driver, later identified as Matthew Reiser of Louisiana, then said he had burned toilet paper with a lighter at noon the day before and placed it under a rock. He told the deputy he didn't think the fire would smolder all night and did not see the no campfire signs posted throughout
Who
the area.
would think that toilet paper would smolder for fucking 20 hours? Who would think that?
Yeah, I would think it
Toilet
would burn
paper?
quickly and that'd be the end of it.
Right.
Especially
Yep.
also
Under a
too,
rock.
like did I miss this? Was it used toilet paper?
Yeah, oh yeah.
Yep.
So that
You don't burn.
know,
You absolutely don't burn like clean toilet paper cons. That'd be wasteful.
that's true.
Yeah. So he didn't think the fire would smolder all night. He didn't see any of the signs saying like absolutely no fires. He said then he wakes up and he sees a 200 by 200 foot blaze. Everything was on fire, including the pine trees.
I'm glad
After-
that he said including the pine trees, because I was wondering like,
Were the pine trees on
the
fire
pine trees
too?
okay, or did they
Right.
skate
they
away
survive?
from the
Yeah.
fire? Yeah.
Right. After another deputy arrived, Reiser told them he had camped in the town of Payson, then drove into the national forest and camped there for 2 days. He agreed to a search of his vehicle, according to the affidavit, and deputies found an undisclosed amount of marijuana and a
Damn
white
it.
lighter. Who
Why
gives a
would you
fuck?
agree again? Like why?
Right.
Why would you agree to let your I started a forest fire by accidentally burning my shit. You want to search my car? See if I got any drugs in here? What the fuck are these
This
people
next
doing?
part is even more embarrassing.
This next part is the reason why this became a story. This line is just ridiculous.
Reiser, so they take him by now, the fire has moved on, and that area is now like cooling off. It's just sizzling a little bit. So he takes them back there. Reiser showed a deputy where he had burned his toilet paper near the campsite. The deputy found human feces under a rock.
No better way to corroborate your story. That's just right there. Like, look, that's my shit. You could DNA test it. I
Isn't
put
it
under this
crazy
rock.
to think this massive forest fire, it looks like volcanoes exploding on the tops of these mountains. And then to know that at the start of it all, your turd is still intact.
It's just
pretty impressive.
unbelievable. Unbelievable.
What's that
turds,
guy
really.
eating? Reiser was booked on suspicion of building an illegal fire.
I don't
Winds
like
reached-
that they arrested him. Like, I feel like when you find human feces underneath the rock, to me, that's like the glove not fitting. you immediately let this guy go because you could tell that his
Mm.
intentions were good. Like, I think
Mm.
because in the criminal statute and almost all laws, intent is part of the criminal statute. There is no chance that any prosecutor can prove intent here because he buried it. He did everything that you're supposed to do. And it's just a weird happenstance that America is dry as fuck across many parts of the
See?
country. And he was just trying to burn his poop. Because what are you going to do? You can't just leave your poop
I
around.
disagree. I have to tell you, I think hearing this story, if I'm anybody in the camping world and anybody who's out there is going to hear this story, and now they're going to know, oh, I'm not supposed to be setting fires anywhere. Like he said, I didn't see the signs. I didn't know. And that you will get, like, if I think I can sneak and do this, like I could get enormously fucked and in
See,
big
that's the
trouble.
Marine Corps thinking in you because you're
Mm.
saying one person made a mistake. We need to make an example out of them. You're basically doing a
Yes.
live arrive card for
Yes,
camping.
that's what I'm doing. Sometimes that worked.
Yeah,
True.
because not for
Okay.
nothing, people are going to continue to camp, and people are going to need to use the Mother Nature's outhouse. So you can't stop people from camping.
I'll
this
tell
is
you, if
gonna
I go
continue to
camping, I'm
happen.
pooping still.
Yeah. When chaps,
It's
when
not
you go to
poop, it
Maine,
starts the
you're going to be
fire.
out. You're going to be there. You're going to be out on a hike one day. You might need to use a tree.
There
Next
was
thing you know-
lots of cabins when Kyle and I were going through and looking at the different cabins. There was one that was absolutely beautiful. It was at the peak of one of the mountains there. You could see forever, and it was gorgeous. They said that the entire cabin had been made by nothing but trees that were on the property. Everything, the countertops, everything was all from local stuff. And then we got to the portion where it's like, but there's no electricity and you have to walk like 700 meters to go to the outhouse. And I was like, dude, I'm gonna be taking 3 chi, having a couple fucking whistle pigs. You think I'm cruising 700 meters whenever there's black bears and shit in the area and I don't know where I'm at and there's mosquitoes all over the place and I've had diarrhea since Easter of 2007? Buddy, I'm not
thank you.
doing that.
No.
I need something that
No.
flushes.
No, you get eaten by a bear probably.
True. I definitely would. Let's move on to round number 4. We're going to talk a little bit about aliens. And it's not often that China intelligence and our intelligence really coincide. But this is one of those stories where we're reaching across the old aisle and saying, China, you build this big ass thing. Let us know what's going on with it. And that's exactly what they did.
Yes. And first of all, can I say something?
Mm-hmm.
All these different countries are having, like, I feel like everyone's finally starting to come out and say, like, all the governments are saying, like, yes, there are UFOs. This is a real thing. Like, our own government said, it's true. We cannot tell you what this shit in the sky is, but it is real. Like, that's a real thing that's happening, which is
Mhm.
insane and huge. If I was a country, I would be the one to be like, oh, hey, other countries, you're all getting messages from the aliens too, right? Saying that you're the coolest and the best. And you're getting all those you up texts from the aliens, right? And then I'm Russia and I'm like, wait, what?
Mm-hmm.
Wait, does anybody else get those? It's just America? I feel like we're making a big mistake not doing more with this.
See, if I would do it, if I was like a top probably 25-ish country, I would look at it and be like, look, we're probably not going to have the economic level that we can compete with the real superpowers, but we need to have this really niche industry like Belgium, for instance. You're going to Belgium for beer primarily, but if Belgium
Waffles.
became the extraterrestrial capital of the world and they had all this stuff, all these alien nerds would be flocking to
Right.
Belgium to go see it. I would do it.
Look at Roswell. What a thriving,
Exactly right.
That's true. Here we are,
No
70
poverty
years
there.
later, still talking about Roswell. 70 years
That's
later.
right. Hot patootins.
But listen to how big this telescope is, or whatever the fuck they built in China. It's insane. Kate, what do we got?
Yes, this comes to us from Bloomberg, and this telescope you could not fit up your ass. I have
No.
to tell you. China said its giant Sky Eye telescope, not Brown Eye, may have picked up signs of life beyond Earth, according to a report by state-backed Science and Technology Daily, which then appeared to have deleted the report and posts about the discovery. So they flashed it up, they took it back down. The narrow band electromagnetic signals detected by Sky Eye, the world's largest radio telescope, differ from previous ones captured, and the team is further investigating them. The suspicious signals could also be some kind of radio interference and requires further investigation. If you look at photos of this thing,
It's enormous.
it is what the telescope itself has to be like what, like 10 acres? It's It looks like like when you see a comet crater, like a massive one. It's huge.
It looks like something that would be made in CGI and fake in a movie. Like where you're like,
Yeah.
okay, those things don't really exist. Like to give you an idea, if you're just listening, there's this mountain range in China, and between the two valleys of two mountains, this telescope sits in the middle, and it covers every single inch of the valley. It's huge. And then the big radio type towers or telephone towers that you would see here, it's flanked and it's surrounded by 6 of those on all sides, and there's plenty of room in the middle. This thing is huge,
Yeah.
huge, 500
Yeah.
meters across.
It isn't clear why the report was apparently removed from the website of the Science and Technology Daily. That's China's official science and tech ministry. Though the news had already started trending on the social network Weibo and was picked up by other media outlets. In September 2020, Sky Eye, which is in southwestern China, it officially launched a search for extraterrestrial life. The team detected 2 sets of suspicious signals in 2020 while processing data collected in 2019, and found another suspicious signal in 2022 from observation data of exoplanet targets. So,
yeah, and I think the size of this, because 500 meters, I mean, that's 5 football fields across. Like when you're thinking about how far that is, it's legitimate. And to be a complete circle, all the technology that goes in it, they must be able to hear every sound in the universe with this thing. I mean, you can hear just with, have you ever played with one of those things that they have on like NFL sidelines where they'll have you'll put on your headphones and they
capture
have
the
thing
sound,
to try to get the sounds of like the tackles or whatever the players are saying. If you have that ability to throw it across a stadium, now magnify that all the way out into deep space, you're picking up insane stuff on the daily. Have to. And how would you decipher it? No idea.
I don't know, because it's probably not English.
that's a great question. Like you might pick up a signal, but it won't mean anything to you.
Or is it just space sounds? Like what if there's like a black hole queef we don't know about, for instance?
That's true.
Could
That's
be
true. Every now and then those hit the earth and they
that there's not a black hole queef.
They disrupt our internet. Meanwhile, over in the US of A, this is from the Tribune News Service, when it passed the Consolidated Appropriations Act in March, Congress quietly gave the National Air and Space Intel Center at Wright-Patterson Air Force Base a role in the investigation of UFOs.
I have a huge bone to pick here. Why in the sweet fuck is the Air Force doing this when we have the Space Force now? If you're not doing this, what are you doing?
Well, I think that the Air Force blankets the Space Force, so it could be going down.
Well, we wouldn't take that if it was like, oh, it's at Marine or Navy base and it's a bunch of Marines doing it. This is the Space Force doing it. You need to have the Space Force out in front. They need some good PR, so we stop making fun of them because their uniforms look like Star Trek shit.
Uniforms still looking like Badoosie. Well, the act mandates a role for them in gathering of info about UFOs. Basically, the law requires that all DoD and federal intel components share UFO info with them, as well as the Pentagon office. So basically, if anyone, any military, anytime it's ever reported, you cannot hold on to that info and be like, everyone's going to think our unit's insane. It's like, no, you are mandated now. You must talk about it and send this information that you have forward.
And it's interesting because so much of this stuff has become declassified in the last few years, like Project Blue Book. This article talks about Project Blue Book and Project Grudge and Project Sign. They said there's 12,618 sightings reported around the world between 1947 and 1969. Of those, 701 were never explained, according to a January.
God, what a sweet job!
I know,
investigating those. What? Right, that's awesome. With a Cold War going on in the 50s and 60s, the Air Force took these reports more seriously because they were afraid of Soviet technological advancements. This is a fun caveat. I was doing a Rocky Boots facts about hot dogs for the 4th of July weekend coming up. And do you know what used to be in the very center of the Pentagon has a massive courtyard? Okay. It's like 5 acres or something like that. This courtyard, it's huge. Guess what was
tender?
It was in the very, very, very center of the entire Pentagon. In the middle of the courtyard was a tiny little hot dog stand. And
really, I was joking. Is that true?
There's this urban legend that Soviet, satellite imagery started picking up and focusing in on this spot. because every day around the same time, all the top brass would gather in the center of the courtyard. And the rumor was that there was something underground there that they were all going to, some sort of secret bunker, some sort of secret thing, when really they were all just going to get their hot dogs at lunch.
And you would think that if they can actually observe that, that's a bad thing for OPSEC. I mean, you drop a little fucking mortar round in there and you take out all the brass.
This was just an urban legend about the hot dog stand, but I just thought that was kind of fun.
I don't think that hot dog stand is too specific for it to be false.
It's true. That's true. We were afraid of Soviet, people were afraid that what if these UFOs, we do need to investigate them because it could be some newfangled Soviet thing. With a budget of more than 500 million and some 4,100 employees, there's this the investigator's job to gather and report.
Yeah, so basically what they're saying is China, the reason why we're talking about it, China has this huge new telescope that they're finally getting some signs of possible alien life. At the same time, the other superpower in the world is upping their investigations into UFOs. It just really points that there is definitely aliens. And I would say that that's probably the biggest shift. Well, definitely not the biggest shift, but a huge shift that I've had philosophically. Like I would have said before I joined the Marine Corps, I would have said there's absolutely no aliens. That's stupid. But now, and it's probably just because of videos. Like if you see videos that really illustrate and show how big Earth is, and then they move out how big our solar system is, how big a galaxy is, how big the universe is, and all those things. If you believe that any kind of science is real, how can this only happen once? How could evolution only happen? There has to be more life out there. Has to be.
Yeah. I wonder though, too, like you think about all these sightings and all these stories from people. Officially, it's never been confirmed that there is life out there. Everyone makes their own conclusions. But do you think if there was an official word that one day came down, it would kind of ruin the whole thing for everybody?
No, I think it would reinvigorate. I think it's kind of like the moon. When people landed on the moon, NASA, more people wanted to apply. Same thing with Top Gun. When they have fighter pilots and you see something actionable, it makes a big difference. And if you hear confirmed facts and they give you reasons why, I think it would flood that industry with people trying to get out to the bottom of it.
Okay, so I agree with that, but at the same time, do we really need to deal with aliens on top of all the other shit we're dealing with right now in our country? Do we really need to deal with the aliens?
I feel like we better get ahead of it.
It might be something that we can agree on, right? Like you have to have these commonalities. I think that whenever you have big negotiations, like the MLB Players Association versus the owners, they have to go into these negotiations with at least one thing that they're willing to compromise on. And that's the beginning of the talks. I feel like alien talks, if we have that, we can go sit down with China. We could sit down with Russia. We could sit down with Saudi Arabia. We could sit down with Venezuela and be like, what are we doing? Let's all pull our money together and figure this out. And let's go capture one and put it in a zoo.
I don't want to say capture one. I would like to stay on the
I want to
fence.
capture one.
You guys, whatever you're doing up there, and gals and whoever, I'm cool with you.
Chaps, I
want to
think
see
you're
their
right.
dicks too.
I do want to see their genitals for sure. Yes.
I mean,
absolutely.
as we all know, when Will Smith was a Marine captain, fighter pilot, and the world came together to go against aliens. So maybe aliens is exactly what we need right now.
Yeah.
I got no beef with them.
I got none at all. All right, let's move on to round number 5. What do we got here?
All right. This comes to us from Task and Purpose. If you have something that you would like to say to the Russian military, well, here's your chance. A Telegram account in Ukraine is soliciting messages that, for a fee, are painted on various artillery shells fired at the Russian front lines. As reported by Motherboard, an account on Telegram called artillery_text is advertising its services on the app through another account that shares footage from the invasion of Ukraine. You have a chance to kill orcs with your text on 152 millimeter. Mike, artillery shell that Katie's still in valor. That will be fired at Russian soldiers, reads the message. You will receive photo with your signed grenade. So then it shows a footage, and there's the rounds covered in one wrote orders. They wrote order yours here. Nanny. I don't know what that means in Ukraine, but whatever. Anyways, yeah. So you can get your own personalized artillery shell.
So for $40, this is all it takes. $40, you could send your own message and it'll be forwarded to a Ukrainian artillery unit, but then they'll write out whatever you want and snap a photo. They're even having a discount right now. You get 10% off. I think with the promo code 0 is what you actually get that with. You can ask to write any text, wish somebody a happy birthday, death and pain, propose marriage name, Instagram, Telegram user, whatever you want to do, and they'll do that. I think this is a legit genius idea. And if there was still a large scale conflict, I think that this is something that a troop would do now. Now that it's out, I think if you're like, oh, I'm in Kabul, send it and I'll write something on there. Because there was definitely times that you wrote messages. I mean, when some of our friends, when some of my friends were killed, I know for a fact that several of the recon dudes went over to the artillery unit and wrote his name on the artillery on the different bombs that were going out. It happened all the time. I think this would happen again.
And this could be a unique way to break up with someone, quit your job, to profess your love to someone. You could use this for all sorts of things. So I think that's pretty interesting.
Do you think, by and large, this should be good messages or bad messages, or it doesn't matter?
I think it doesn't matter, whatever you're feeling.
But I also know that there's this, it is kind of terrible at the same time, because it's like you're killing people. Like these conscripts, these Russian conscripts, by and large, have no control over what they're doing. I guess they do have some control over what they're doing.
It's pretty war crimey,
but they have been severely brainwashed. They don't have access to the same information. They have been taken from poor villages for the most part and put on the front lines by Putin. Putin is definitely the aggressor here. And I think the Russian people are getting treated shitty. And that's because of Putin and who's in charge there. And then you also have the Ukrainians who are getting obviously the worst end of the stick by far. So it's like you're supporting the Ukrainians who are dealing with this siege. And it's kind of silly. It's a kind of silly thing.
Yeah, but I think they're like, you're reading about it online. They're running out of ammo. They're running out of this and that. And any way to raise funds that they can do, they have to be scrappy about it. And I think this is a smart way to do it. It was started by a 20-year-old IT student who he began making Molotov cocktails at the beginning of the invasion. He soon switched over to posting footage from the front lines on Telegram channels and asking for donations, which is where he saw soldiers signing artillery shells. After seeing another account with a similar concept raise $3,000 in 2 days, he started artillery_text. According to the account admin, the donations are used to purchase equipment for troops. The account claims to have raised about $11,000, which has been used to purchase 2 Starlink satellite systems, a thermal scope, and a car for evacuating wounded soldiers from the front lines.
And from what I've heard, those Starlink systems that are an Elon Musk property, they are doing unbelievably well in Ukraine too. Like that's really, really helping them with communications.
Yeah. So there you have it.
Perhaps, do you think divorced Phil would put his ex-wife's name on one of these
Cindy would go on there in a second. Yeah, that dumb bitch. She'd be on there in a second. He'd be fucking furious with her.
Take that, Cindy.
Speaking of dumb bitch, Kate was upset this morning, riled up. Wasn't a Sunday morning, but we still had riled up Katie because of a congressman from Texas. Kate, what happened there?
Yeah, so Chip Roy, I'll be honest, I had never heard of the guy. I'm not from Texas, but whatever. During the Allied thing, I heard he was one of the few, whatever. Anyway, I guess there's this vote up about don't draft our daughters, drafting women into the military. That's always this debate, like, should we reinstate the draft? And if we do, should women be included? Blah, blah, blah. I think it's one of those dog and pony show things that always gets people super riled up when really it's like,
right.
Why are we even talking about that? Though?
I don't know,
like,
dude.
It's so
I don't know,
stupid
because it's
to
a
even bring that up
divisive.
as a discussion.
It's something that's very easy to distract people from actual real issues that are going on. So he's looking into the guy's very much a dog and pony show grifter, whatever. So one of his texts to defend against, like, we can't draft women. This is one of the texts that he put out there. This is pathetic. Even volunteer women in the military cause the standards to be reduced. Blah, 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 blah. So these clowns draft women. So he talks about how women, we don't want more. Why would we want to draft women? They're already they're making the military worse, essentially.
They're clogging up our ranks.
And I can't stand this argument from anybody, but it makes it even worse when it's people that look like Chip Roy and they never served.
Never served a day in his life. And if you never served, you're allowed to have opinions about the military, whatever.
Right.
But don't put us down. Don't put a quarter of your U.S. military when you've been a lifelong politician using us for all sorts of different things as pawns to further your whatever, just like this that you're doing right now.
And in his little Congress fucking sheet, his bio, whatever, it says proudly supporting the men and women of the military. Well, then which one is it?
No, you don't.
Chip? Which one is it?
Which one is it? You're willing to use us for whatever. And I think I had just dropped my son off from daycare this morning when I saw that came across my timeline from other women, military women were looking at this saying like, what the fuck? And I thought about like on my first tour, we knew that I volunteered to join the Marine Corps. And then I volunteered for a mission when the opportunity came that was much more dangerous than anything I would have been doing normally. And as part of our training, like they made us very aware that the odds were good that we might not come home.
Mm-hmm.
And still, every single one of us, mothers with young children, I think about now, like the women that I served with a whole new level of respect. Like I look at my son and they walking away and getting on the bus that day, hugging your kids goodbye.
Mm-hmm.
They volunteered knowing they might not come home to their kids. I remember crying on the bus, watching my fiance out the window, thinking I might never see him again.
Mm-hmm.
I remember I had a note from my mom and dad that I kept in my fucking Kevlar in case I died, to tell them how much I loved them.
Mm-hmm.
Like that was a very real possibility. And I'm not saying this to be like, oh, I'm so brave, but we all did. Like every woman
like the denigration of that service is absolutely bullshit. You're
fuck
right.
you.
Mhm.
Every woman I served with took that risk, especially on that first tour, like any tour, but really, especially that one. Like we knew exactly what we were getting into. We did very dangerous jobs in very dangerous areas. And we did it for our country, for these fucking politician grifter fucking clowns that just use us like pawns for whatever reason, whatever sparks the fucking people to get upset or whatever. Like, honestly, I just want to say, fuck you, Chip Roy, you fucking dumb bitch. Like that's how I was sitting in the car. Like, I wish I could see him face to face and just call him a dumb fucking bitch, because that's what he is. Like, I guess I'm just so tired of seeing men online shitting on our service because it's still happening all over the place. Like, get with the fucking times, dude. Either get with the times and be a good leader, or fucking get the fuck out if you can't respect service members. Like, I'm just so obviously.
And I don't know what
I'm
it
just
is,
so tired
like
of it.
why
Like,
you, and especially
like-
from other service members who do it to women as well. I don't understand it. I don't know if the mindset is, if they can do it, does it make me look less manly? Like type of thing. Like, are you
honestly
concerned?
Yeah,
think-
probably because they're
I-
insecure with their own selves.
I truly honestly think that. And like the debate always comes back to, well, their PT standards aren't the same. It comes down to physical fitness. Like, so few times has that actually, like, again, that goes to the mindset that the public, I guess, has, that we're all these like fucking like Navy SEAL type people out there. Like,
Right.
really, that kind of stuff comes into account so little in the military.
It's not the
And
1940s. You're not doing any of that kind of shit.
for the
anymore
missions
right
where that is pertinent, usually you have to go through a whole series to prove yourself to be able to get there. So
and
it's
the
not an
MOS
issue.
specific jobs, you're going to be doing MOS specific training to make sure that you're up to the standard to be able to do that.
Right. And outside of PT or whatever, which I feel truly is a non-issue, outside of that, any command that is holding women to a lower standard in any other way, that's a failure of leadership. That's not
Mhm.
my problem. I'm not getting the equipment that I need. I'm not getting the training that I need. That's your fucking fault. That's
Right.
leadership's fault, not mine. So fuck you. Yeah. And I guess I'm just so tired of people like Chip Roy at this point. And the guy is like a fucking grifter. You look at his, when there was a freeze on paying federal workers, he was one of the only people to vote no to giving them the back pay they were owed
Right.
when they were working without getting paid, while he was still getting paid.
Right.
When the Allies Act to grant 8,000 more SIV visas for our Afghan allies, overwhelmingly bipartisan, and to speed up the process of paperwork, he was one of only 13 to vote no on that too. And that was
Mhm.
veterans from both sides of the fence going mentally crazy, spinning our wheels, trying to get our interpreters and their families here. And like, this fucking guy has something to say about me. Fuck you. Sorry, I'm going off, but I just,
No, I think it's good. I
Absolute
think your
bitch.
passion is well
Yeah.
placed, and
it's annoying.
people need to hear it. Politicians need to hear it. People that listen to this show need
Yeah.
to hear it. Like how
And I don't
much
care,
women
like,
are actually doing.
If honest to God, like, I didn't know what his background, like, I didn't know Republican, Democrat, like, whatever, I guess you could guess, but like, I don't care if you're a Democrat saying that shit. I also think you're a dumb bitch.
Right.
And so
There's
whatever.
enough dumb bitches to
There's
go
so many
around for sure.
dumb bitch alert.
But that's not the only thing
That's-
that's happening on Capitol Hill today is Chip
Yeah.
Roy being an idiot. There is some good news. It looks like the PAC Act is going to pass. I'm saying right now, like while we're sitting
Yes.
here recording, that it looks like it's going to pass with over 80 votes in the Senate, which obviously there's 100 votes there, 101 if you count Harris too. But there's 80 plus votes. This will have to go back over to the House where they'll take over and look at the amendments that have been added or some of the things that have been changed from the House bill that was passed over to the Senate. And once that happens and the House approves it again, which they will, then that goes to the president's desk for signature. And probably the most sweeping and needed legislation to help post 9/11 veterans is going to take place. And that's a great accomplishment for not only President Biden and Taffer and fucking the dude from the Daily Show, what's his name? Jon Stewart.
Jon
Like
Stewart.
there's so
Jon
many
Stewart.
different people and organizations, IAVA, that have been working on this 107 Foundation. There's so many organizations that have put years into this legislation to see it finally come to place with a huge price tag. But we've said it all along. If you send Americans to war, you better be able to fucking fund those Americans when they need you, when they go back home. You have to.
Yep. They say
Yeah, not and going back to what you were saying, Kate, not just being able to be used as pawns when they come back.
exactly.
Actually
They only
do something for them.
Right. You're using us. Let's now be able to use you for some help. 3.5 million service members have been exposed to dangerous chemicals. And
I feel like that number's low.
yet 80% of disability claims related to burn pits and toxic chemicals get rejected by the VA. And the proof now, one of the main reasons that this has been able to happen and make it this far is that like Hunter 7 and all these groups doing research have like been able to prove beyond a reasonable doubt that this is fucking up people's lives. So many disproportionate number of young people are dying of cancer. It's crazy. So this is much
Selfishly,
needed.
like I have a very close friend from college. She has 5 kids, maybe 6. I can't keep track. She has a bunch of kids. She's battling cancer right now. She's our age. She's battling cancer. Like she was an athlete in school too. She's unbelievable, physically fit, stayed physically fit. There's no reason that she should have cancer other than she was deployed. So the fact that I just when we go back to the interview that Jon Stewart did with the Secretary of the VA, and he said, like, this has been proven by science for decades. What's so hard about just saying, okay, yeah, that's right. Like, we were all exposed to these burn pits. It's a no brainer. And I really do think that 3.5 million number, that sounds low to me.
For sure. Too low.
Oh, it's going to go up. Yeah.
Yeah, it's gonna go up. Oh, I have one more safe round on a positive.
But we haven't even started yet.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
All right, let's go save rounds and alibis. Nick, we'll start with you.
Yeah, I guess for me, save rounds. So I got like that question on Twitter about, I guess, the PFT or there's a fitness, CFT. Obviously, yeah,
So
on mind, right?
Combat
what that is, and I
fitness
told you
test.
that I would explain it on the show. The CFT is the combat fitness test, and the PFT is the personal fitness test. And so, like the personal fitness test, how fast can you run 3 miles? How many pull-ups can you do, and how many crunches can you do? What do you think you would run 3 miles in? I bet you're pretty fast because you run a lot now.
Yeah.
Yeah, if it's 3 miles flat and I'm competing, man, I'm going to do close to 7-minute miles. I know that for sure. If I'm like, if you tell me I'm competing, yeah, I'll definitely get close.
So
to 7.
18 minutes would be the perfect score.
Yeah.
That's a really good. Wow. Okay.
That's aggressive.
Isn't it crazy?
That's aggressive. I would have to train to
That
hit
was me,
that.
baby.
Nick is the only person on this podcast right now who, if all 4 of us went to a recruiting station, would be accepted into the
No,
US military.
I'm close too. Cons is close. I wait.
Physically,
I
if you had to run a PFT and a CFT,
absolutely.
Absolutely.
get the
The
fuck
minimum
outta
to go
here.
to boot camp is 3
No.
pull-ups and
Chaps,
and
I-
passing the run. I
Chaps,
can
I don't
walk
mean
3 minutes.
disrespect.
I
don't
can
mean
walk
disrespect.
3 miles in 28 minutes, Kate. I can
3
walk that.
pull-ups. I would
Yeah.
like to see you do
3.
3
I did
pull-ups.
fucking
Oh my
15 with
God.
Big Cat when I was in New York one time.
love
And that was
this.
like a
That
year
one
ago.
time. That was a year.
Kate,
ago.
are you
I'm just
kidding me?
sorry.
Are
I'm
you
sorry.
shitting me? 3 pull-ups
Well, how
There-
big of a bag
I
of trash
promise
are
you,
you
there
that
will
you
never
think we
be a
can't
point.
do this?
before I'm 80 years old that I won't be able to do 3 pull-ups. Never. That will never happen.
And these are strict, right? So we're talking strict
Yes.
pull-ups. It's
Yes.
above the
strict,
bar.
You
no
gotta
pips, no
stay.
none of that
I'll
stuff.
do 3 pull-ups right
3
now if I had a
pull-ups.
pull-up bar.
That's fucking nothing.
Hey,
I
Well,
can pass
anyway,
the-
yeah.
turning.
I wouldn't
20
be a
soon.
superior PFT guy like I was when I was in. I'd be a fucking fat little food blister, but I could pass.
Yeah,
I'd be in
like
the
I'm
back
not
of the
running.
platoon.
I'm not running a 11-minute 9-second 2 mile like I did back in the day, but I'm still probably maxing the PT test.
You know what we should do? We should have PFT commenter watch us do a PFT and comment on
Not
it.
doing the PFT. I'm the only way I would do a PFT, we'd have to go way high on subscriptions because there's a dichotomy there because
Fair.
I also said that I'll never run. I don't want to lie to a listener, but I also would do a PFT if we got, let's say, like 50,000, like 50,000.
We will all get waxed and then immediately do a PFT.
No, dude, you'd end up with the worst shave bumps.
Yeah,
of
that'd be
all
the
I
time.
know, but
worst. That'd
that's
be
fair. We're
terrible.
talking 50K. It's worth it to me. I'll take a chafe. Cowards.
Well, one question. So they're different, right? The CFT and the PFT are different.
Yeah.
Yeah,
They're different because I
One's
saw
just general physical
CFT
fitness.
it's like what you do in CrossFit.
right. So it's more because I saw like you have to lift like a certain pound like piece of armory or something.
It's
like that?
supposed to
Like
kind of
ammo can.
replicate how tired you
can.
get. It's supposed to kind of replicate how tired you get in combat.
Got
Like
it.
you're running here with the ammo. You're doing this. You're doing that. You're wearing the full.
You're dragging
wearing
your buddy.
camo.
You're picking them up, doing
Yeah.
a little fireman's carry. You're doing all kinds of dumb
Yeah.
shit. You're
I think
running
I
with
would
your
like
boots
the-
on.
The Army's PT test that they do now. I would like that one better than the one I used to do.
Yeah, and they don't even have one. They
When you
changed that
guys-
one again. They gotta figure it out again. Did you
Yeah.
see that? Congress was like, figure it the fuck out. You got to figure out a new one. This one stinks. And they
What's
worked on
this-
it for like 5 years.
What's the sit up standard? Like, what is that? Like, is it just like a crunch or is it
So
like
Marines
a
is
full-
crunch. Yeah.
Oh,
Okay.
that's easy. In the Army, you had to go like, basically elbows to knees.
Yeah, but
like,
you
all
guys
the
did
way
2
up.
miles. I mean, are you even? That's a warm up. My God.
I might do 3 miles flat and just time myself. And I'll let the listeners
Gonna
know.
put
what
us
I
Okay,
on
so
shame.
what we need you to do, Nick, I think,
And I'll
but
do
we
it,
got to have
but-
an incentive. We got to figure it out. We'll do that after the show. I think once we get that, we'll do a full out PFT for Nick to see where he fits in, and I'll calculate his score to see where he would be at for the Marine Corps standard. I think that'd be really fun.
And
I'll
I'll
do
just
it.
do
100%.
nothing.
Kate, I cannot believe you think like we're just bags of trash.
I weigh 192 pounds, Kate. I am in standard.
I don't know how to say. It's hard for me to imagine you guys as fit. I don't know how to say that nicely.
I feel like
Jesus.
I feel like that's fair. I mean, I'm not offended. I'm offended that you think I can't do 3 pull-ups. Have you seen how small my legs are? I'm basically like picking up just my top portion of my body. That's easy. That's nothing.
Right. Well,
I'm
I'm not saying I'm great. I'm not saying I'm some.
Yeah, Kate's
I'm
over here
not-
doing 70 seconds
Kate,
flex
Kate,
arm
you know what
hangs.
you're doing? I'm sorry, Kate. You know what you're doing? You're projecting
Yeah,
on me and
Good point,
Chaps.
Tom.
I'm pulling a Chip Roy. I'm.
you
You're
really
Chip
are.
Roy-ing it.
You, yeah.
Also,
all
can we
right.
talk about how if you're an adult, you can't go by Chip? I think you gotta go by.
Chip
is that his
Kelly
given
is a
name?
pretty neat guy.
Chip Gaines.
Yeah, actually, I've
Chip
spent time with Chip
Gaines,
Kelly. He's awesome.
Chip, the tiny little teacup from Beauty and the Beast.
You
He's
can't be a
fun.
dick and name Chip.
Chippendale.
Like
Right,
that's
you
the issue
Chippendale.
with Chip.
Yeah,
I don't think it has anything to do with like being a grown up. Chip, if your name is Chip, you're the
You
life
gotta
of
be
the
awesome.
party. Like
Yeah.
when Chip walks in, you're like, fucking Chip, look at this motherfucker, dude.
That's
Like, come
true.
here, Chip. Let's
yeah.
grab Chip. Go get Chip a whistle pig. Get him a whistle pig.
Yeah.
He don't care. Whatever cocktail, straight, ice, whatever. Chip's gonna drink it. That
Chip's
motherfucker.
That poor old grandpa from Talladega Nights. I'll jump on you like a spider monkey. Chip.
Mhm, mhm.
There's
Exactly
so many
right,
great
Kate.
chips out there, and he was a
That's
war
true.
hero.
Yeah.
He threw his nose
And
off the bridge.
Pilots too. Our friends, the Rescue Rangers.
Mm-hmm.
Chip and Dale. That's what he said. He's really the only shitty Chip.
Rescue Ranger.
I wonder if
Chip
Chip and Dale are getting
when
extra
it's
strange
danger.
squirrel coochie right now with all the talk about different fighter pilots and stuff. I bet they're just absolutely swimming in squirrel bussy.
Probably.
Cons, what do you have for save rounds?
A few things. Number one, I forgot to mention this. When we were in Sonoma, we arrived to the hotel in a minivan, and it was me, Large, Spider, Cody, who works on our social team, Casey, and Kelly, and we all walked in together. And for some reason, they put all the bags into my room. So we came to the conclusion, I think they thought we were a family because of walking in all together in a minivan. So my question is, if that collection of people were a family, how does that break down? And for you guys, who would be who?
I think that's a TLC show. I don't even want to let my brain go there. That's a fucked up scenario.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right,
TLC.
fair enough. We'll leave it alone. all the cities for the upcoming Army Navies through 2027 came out. Any thoughts?
Yeah, Landover, Maryland being on the list is an absolute abomination to the
That
Lord.
stadium sucks so fucking hard. I've been to it. My cousin Harry got kicked out of that game.
Classic Harry.
But me and all my cousins, we went to the standing room only seats. That whole area sucks. The tailgate area sucks. Everything about that stadium sucks.
Not only that, I feel like signing both West Point and the Naval Academy, having their commandants or whatever the fuck you call them sign off on that is a failure of leadership, in my opinion.
Truly.
They didn't
Everyone else
ORM
is
this
great,
field.
though.
I mean, you're going to put your young athletes that are about to go be young officers in the field at risk tearing an ACL. If RG3 couldn't make it through a playoff game there, what makes you think that you're going to be able to do a wing T down that field?
And we all know wing T.
And I also said, that's right, Kate. I also said maybe the most upset I've ever been, like on Twitter, that a tweet didn't get more traction. Like Kate will have these puns that are really silly, really goofy that she knows isn't going to go viral. And then she does a little rocket ship tweets, one of my favorite bits that she does. I posted that whenever they're going to Foxborough, which is outside of Boston, that it was going to be the Boston Wing Tea Party. And I was like, this is fucking genius. I have 190 something followers on Twitter. I got fucking 36 likes. What
That's
the fuck?
terrible.
Welcome to my world,
Jesus.
pal.
I could probably post the letter W and get more interaction on a tweet than that. And it got nothing. And I thought it was a great joke. I texted it to Dave Portnoy and he didn't say shit back either. Just a terrible joke that I thought
You
was
did
awesome.
not send that to Dave.
I swear to
Did you
Christ,
really
I did.
text
Yeah.
it to Dave?
Yeah, I'll show you right now. Let me make
That's bad. When you text Dave and you just get nothing in response. That's real bad. Oh my goodness.
Let me
What
see.
was the text? What was the text under it?
What, did you want him to retweet that?
Yeah, like
You thought it was that
did
good?
What did you say to him?
I
What is
said we should throw a Boston Wing Tea Party for that game.
Oh
You're
my
such a
god.
loser.
Such a fucking nerd. Oh, I had a misspelled game too. I said
Oh.
Gane. What a loser. I'm surprised I didn't get fucking fired.
You should
my
probably quit.
God.
You should
I
probably
feel
just quit.
secondhand embarrassment.
No, I
bad,
mean,
dude.
Dave doesn't text me back a lot of times. This is a thing we have. I just kind of keep my text with
Is
Dave.
it
or
a
just,
thing you have?
it's just like
that a
basically
thing
a
you guys
journal.
have?
I'll just text them time to time, little ideas that I'm having. Just throw it around. We'll talk about it when I'm up there next time. It's fine.
Okay.
Kate, what
Okay.
do you got for save rounds?
Wait, sorry, I had one last thing.
Oh,
Yes.
Sorry. I went to a movie premiere last night for PLL, The Fate of a Sport, about Paul Rabel and Mike Rabel creating the PLL. I don't know when or where it's going to premiere, but I can't wait for everybody to see it. It was unbelievable. One of the best
Oh,
sports
yeah. Premier
documentaries I've seen in a
Lacrosse
very
League.
long time. Yeah. Very, very cool. So I was very excited to see that. It was a lot of fun.
Love it.
But we went to, there was a little after party, and how about this for a collection? It was me, Billy, football, Dukes, and Jake Marsh. And I've never felt more awkward than going there with those guys.
all those games that we play, like you pick 4 to go to a restaurant, probably at bar. The only other way you can make it more uncomfortable and people have less in common is if we put Frank the Tank at the table too. Like that's the
Yeah.
only way it would be a better eclectic group.
It was just kind of funny, like realizing I'm so much older than all of them, and we just have nothing in common. Not that they're all great kids, but that's exactly what they are, kids.
Wow.
So it
old
was
man
just very
Khan
weird
showing
being
up in
around him.
Save
Yeah.
rounds. Hate to see that. Unbelievable.
Mm.
Kate, what do you got
Anyway.
for save rounds?
Speaking of movie premieres, I feel terrible. I'm looking through now and I can't find it because now my mentions are ruined by my Chip Roy anger.
Mhm.
But I heard from one of the guys, one of the Marines who was on the flight deck when I was high as shit at the Top Gun movie premiere.
Oh my.
Yeah.
What'd he say?
Sent me, it was 2 very long tweets, but he was like, Kate, first of all, I don't agree with you at all politically. And I think you're often wrong on those things, but I appreciate that you speak your mind. So that was very lovely. Opposite sides of the fence, but
I
we're still
do.
grooving.
I do love that when, like, I promise you, we don't expect anybody to ever agree with us about 100% of the stuff. Like,
no,
ever.
and I don't
Yeah.
mind. Most of my family thinks I'm a fucking idiot, but,
right.
you know.
Same. Yeah.
Anyway, I still love them to death, you know, and I think they like me. Anyways, sometimes. But he couldn't have been nicer. He was like, I have to tell you, you were fine. He's like, we didn't even notice. You were very kind to all of us, whatever. So I was like, thank God. Because that was one of the
Yeah,
worst
we wouldn't
moments.
have let you just be a dumb bitch to all these people. Like Kate's like, you fucking losers.
No, I just felt like I was being so standoffish because I kept pulling my hair in front of my face and
No,
trying
you
to
had a
hide.
very happy disposition.
Yeah.
Like
If someone just walked, like you weren't doing anything that was overtly weird, that would
I just felt
lead
like a
anyone to
zombie.
believe
So
you were very high.
I wish I could find the tweet because he was just like so lovely, and it was just such a lovely message from him. So shout out to you if you're listening. There's that, and then 2, yeah, next episode you'll be hearing me from down the Jersey Shore,
Oh yeah,
which is exciting. Lest we forget, 2 years ago, that's where I got pregnant.
true. Wonder what's gonna happen this time. Hard to say.
Definitely, I'm freshly waxed, my friend. So watch out.
Ready to go.
But I'm just really excited.
Imagine you just
No.
said
My body's too
Too
broken.
baby
Never
Katie.
again. Never again. But I just
Chase needs
that's
a brother
it.
or
There's
sister.
no real message except that I'm just excited to go
Chase,
down the Jersey
Cash,
Shore.
Jesus.
Last year, Cash was just he was just 3 months old, and my nipples still hurt so bad from breastfeeding that I couldn't even put a shirt on. So I spent that whole vacation up in the family's. We rent this shack over
It's
the
so
bay.
unrelatable to like dudes, like the things that you had to go. Like my
Ugh.
nipples hurt so bad I couldn't put on a shirt. That's not something I've ever thought about.
No,
Yeah.
me neither.
Well, it's one of the reasons I didn't come back to work for longer than I should, because I literally couldn't put a shirt on because my tits hurt so bad. Anyway, I spent most of that vacation up in the loft of our family's rental shack. It literally is like a trailer on stilts over the water.
Mhm.
They rent, like the rest of my family, it's a huge family like vacation. So we take up like 2 entire
Wait, how many?
blocks.
I'm sorry, but yeah, but
Yeah,
how
my
many
dad's one of
siblings?
13, and they each had a ton of kids. But they all get like big ass beach houses, and then we're in the shack over the bay. So I don't even have a bedroom. It's like a loft over the,
And your
whatever.
parents don't let you drink Pepsi.
and they don't let me because I'll wet the hide of bed.
All
That's
right.
the thing, right? But so I spent most of the vacation last year up in the loft with the baby crying because we just couldn't figure out breastfeeding still several months later. So that was pretty, and I had thrown my back out. And so I couldn't do
What is
anything.
going on, Kate?
I know.
Kate's going through a litany of her injuries from a year. I'm about to have fun, but I'd be remiss if I didn't mention that I had the plague.
I guess I'm
last
saying
year.
that because this year he's running around now. I
Yeah,
feel much
He's
better.
so active.
I'm
Mhm.
just really, I guess I'm saying I'm really looking forward to it. Last year it was just being a new mom in a different area. And this year I'm like, we're going to go to the beach. We're going to go to the park. We're going to have so much fucking fun. I'm just
What
What's the
are-
dryer
jazzed.
situation though? Is there a dryer?
There is.
Okay,
There's
good.
dryer.
What
So-
are you looking forward to the most? I know you've taken him to the beach so far, so he's seen the ocean. He's been in the sand. What else are you looking forward to doing with him?
Oh man, well, so I've got one of my cousins is having her bachelorette party down there. So
Oh,
I got some of my older cousins who are in there. They're in college.
so you're
now.
bringing Cash to the bachelorette party.
I normally don't use babysitters because you can't talk, but a bunch of my little girl cousins who are in college now, they're like, we'll watch them. You go out and get weird. For a
What's the
couple
dark
nights.
situation?
Oh, I'll be smoking. Are you
Yeah.
asking, am I going to smoke?
Yeah, ripping heaters out
Absolutely.
there. Good. That's
Absolutely.
How many cousins do you have?
Oh, over 40 first cousins.
Jesus.
Yeah, I don't
And
think
then-
it's possible. Once you have 13 kids, I don't think it's possible to keep track of the cousins. It's not realistic.
Do you have some cousins that you're like, I don't really like Susie?
No, I honest to God, it's the weirdest thing. And it's so funny because half the family, like we're talking about like politics, or whatever, the family's like split right down the middle and like very opposite. And everybody gets along so well. It's
Except for
like
that one weird uncle who's the libertarian.
the weird libertarian. Nobody likes that guy.
We need a
Um,
license for a damn toaster. Come on.
Yeah. But it's funny because I'll see family members on Facebook going off and I'm like, oh God. And then we're at the beach, we're like drinking beers together, having the best time. It's like, oh yeah, this is
Wait,
reality.
so when are you
So,
going
like-
and when are you staying?
We'll
until?
text about this, Cons. I don't think
Sorry.
she'll be gone next week.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
don't really
sorry.
have any
Anyway.
safe rounds. Jesus Christ. Like we're
Sorry.
at a fucking Denny's.
Is
Like
anyone, wait, everyone tweet me a bird photo if you're still listening, because I want to know if anyone made it
Cons
past my
like
save
my
round.
next question. What do you plan on wearing? Like what's the shoe situation? When you riding on a
Yeah.
cruise?
Sorry,
Where
I'm
are
a
you going?
curious guy.
Yeah.
You are. You need to stop it.
Yeah.
I don't really have any save rounds. I do want to mention the list of the nays came out. The group came out to be 84-10 was the vote, or 84-12 is the vote, which that means some people abstained from voting. So I'm going to list the names of the people who didn't vote for the PACT Act because I think it's very important. That would be Senator Burr from North Carolina, Senator Cassidy from Louisiana, Senator Kennedy from Louisiana, Senator Langford from Oklahoma, Senator Lee from Utah, Senator Lummis from Wyoming, Senator Paul from Kentucky, Senator Romney from Utah, Senator Sullivan from Arkansas, Senator Tillis from North Carolina, Senator Tomey from Pennsylvania, and Senator Young from Indiana all said no to honoring our veterans.
Suck our ass.
Yeah.
Suck
Suck our
our ass.
You know
Suck
what?
our ass.
I'm gonna say it.
From the back.
All those senators, they can kick rocks.
Kick rocks. Don't you be putting in your fucking bio, support our troops, love our first responders, love all that shit, and then vote against things that keep us alive. Don't fucking do it, you bunch of hypocrites. Sound the treat.